Welcome to the Voice of Truth. Jim Moore, Jesse Jeff. No Fresh Prince.
No, not today. No
Not
Fresh
today.
Prince. Too hot to be fresh. Today we got a blast of summer heat.
Yeah, feeling good. I hope you've enjoyed the last couple of weeks. We've talked about Legion. We've talked about the beast and Antichrist a little bit. We try to hit some of these subjects. But we try not to be controversial in some aspects, but maybe now's the time a little bit. I get frustrated sometimes. I'm just a natural human being. You know, I love that verse, I think in James, where he talked about Elijah being like passions as we are. Mm-hmm. So you kind of look around at things and you kind of sense maybe things aren't right. You know, when we were talking about that beast, that's just been on my mind so much. The beast up out of the sea, and the dragon gave him its power, and who can make war with the beast. You know, we were talking about that. And, you know, that's a narrative that comes to us. It's so, we say these things, but I wonder, does anybody even pay attention? You know what I mean?
I wonder too.
Because, you know, most people's minds are so made up, whether it's scripture or not, you know. And so when you dive in to these scriptures, like what we try to do, and really bring out the essence of what it's talking about, most of the times it falls on deaf ears, or we've heard. I've heard it on my church channel, Rhythms of Grace, this one, and from the Voice of Truth, on the radio show, I've heard people say, man, you're just too deep. You're just too deep.
Oh yeah, I hear the same thing about you.
You know?
People tell me.
And, you know, we just don't understand. And I honestly, for me, I wonder how much more simpler can you be? The reason it sounds too deep is because we don't have no idea where we're coming from. Because it sounds deep because it's coming at you from a whole different angle maybe than what you're used to. We're not talking about vaccines and chips and tattoos on the forehead.
And scripture. I mean, we're coming to people from scripture, and most people haven't read it. I know people that's been in church for 30 or 40 years, never read the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's astounding to me.
Yeah.
They just go from what Papa told them to Daddy to whoever, and it's just passed down from one to the other. I get my belief. You know, God doesn't have grandchildren. Mm-hmm. I heard that said one time. Mm-hmm. You have to have your own relationship with your Father.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that kind of brings us around, because I see these things tied together, and I don't even know. A lot of times Jeff and I know where we're going, but he called me up and said, what do you want to talk about? And I said, well, this is on my mind. And, you know, concerning the war in Israel and Gaza.
It's been on a lot of people's minds.
The protests in the colleges that has been going on.
Maybe a good reason why so many people watched when we done the thing on ashes of a red heifer. People's wondering.
Yeah.
They're wondering. They're seeing this turmoil in Israel, and they're saying, oh,
Here we go.
Here we go. It's coming.
And you know, when we were talking about the beast, and the beast being empire and the politics of empire, and you know, that question, who can make war with the beast? We didn't get it near as many hits on that as we did the red heifer, because everybody's looking, who's going to be the Antichrist? Oh, he's talking about the red heifer. Maybe they're going to talk about the Antichrist. So you talk about this war in Israel and Gaza, and the same thing comes up. All prophecies being fulfilled. I challenge anybody out there to show me where prophecies being fulfilled. I mean, I just throw it out there. I mean, if you know, and hey, let's have a conversation on it.
I love that.
You know, because I've heard some of the strangest things that ain't even in the Bible. You know, like one world governments and currencies and and
Computer chips in your hands.
all of this stuff, and they say it's in the Bible, and I'm like, where is this at in the Bible?
Not there.
For me, I don't know where you get it.
No, it's not
and,
there.
and most people don't know because they don't pay no attention. They hear what's
been passed down to them, and what there was some people have been in the church basically their whole life, and then they get into a leadership position a lot of times over the course of time, and then a young person comes to them and asks them a question. Well, what's this mean? All right, they don't have any idea. Mm-hmm. Either the response is you'll know by and by, son, mm-hmm. which means I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Or here, let me throw you my imagination or my take on it, or my very limited understanding of it, and I'll just throw that out there, and you take it from there.
Yeah.
And most of my experience, what was told me, it never did satisfy me.
Right.
I was always left with that. Don't make sense to me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, we go back to God is hiding something. God is withholding. He didn't really want us to know. Revelation wasn't given to us so that we could understand it.
Code.
It was code. It's not a code book.
No, it's not in code. Not at all.
It's not. It's the revelation of Jesus Christ.
The unveiling, the unraveling of who He did and what He done.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
From another perspective.
Yeah. And, when we look at these things, and we're going to talk about this Gaza and Hamas, and listen, there's no prophecy being fulfilled here. One of the things that gets me, and I'll show you some scriptures here, because I think people forget what Christianity is all about. Because, and listen, I heard Dennis Prager and some of these other big names talking about we need to go in and level Iran. And I mean, these are supposed to be Christian people. And they're wanting to bomb our brothers and sisters.
I know, it's astounding, ain't it?
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, wow.
I mean, you look at the ministry, the life of the Lord Jesus Christ, and it was never railing for railing. Never.
No.
I mean, I can say that with a surety, that it was never the response that they expected. A woman caught in the act of adultery, they said, what do you say we do with her? The law says we stone her. All right, we have every right to stone this woman because the law says we can. And we're supposed to. Mm-hmm. What do you say? Mm-hmm. Those among you without sin, let them cast the first stone. Mm-hmm. That was his response.
I know. In his great discourse on the Sermon on the Mount, love your enemies. Do good to them that despitefully use you. If he slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other.
Exactly.
And we'll preach that and then say, let's bomb them.
Yeah. We'll preach it, but we won't live it. We won't live it. Because what our human nature, our fallen nature, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. what we expect is return. Return, fight for fight, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Vengeance. I want revenge. Jesus that said, when you've seen me, you've seen God. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Turned all that right upside down.
Yeah.
That's why I've given your life. See, as the Father has sent me, so I send you. So you are sent into the world to lay your life down. And I'm talking about laying your life down. Literally laying your life down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's astounding to people. They say, well, what if somebody come and took your home? What are you going to do? Mm-hmm. Well, I asked my wife, I said, over in Israel, they think they're justified in attacking Hamas because they were first attacked. Mm-hmm. That's what was told mm-hmm. us anyway. We were told that because of this concert that was going on, Hamas attacked Israel unprovoked and killed 1,700 people. and they have the right to go in and make things right. Okay? And that's the way they're selling it too. That's the way they're selling it to the American people. We have every right. But then you got these kids protesting. What are they? They're protesting pro-Palestinian people. That's incredible, ain't it? Jesus taught, and I'm telling you, it's against our nature. It's against our human fallen nature to not want revenge. But Jesus taught us to turn the other cheek. And people say, well, you have to meet strength with strength, rattle a sword and all that.
No.
It takes so much more enormous strength.
There's a verse in Revelation there. Let me pull it up here real quick.
It takes so much more strength to turn the other cheek, to lay your life down, one for another. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if on 9/11? Now this is going to really rock some people. Can you imagine on 9/11 when George Bush got up there and said, "Whoever leveled these buildings, they're going to hear from us."
Yeah.
And how people surrounded him and rallied around him. You talking about a unified nation? We were right then.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine what would happen if he said, "The people that took these buildings down, we're going to forgive"? Can you imagine?
Oh yeah. Listen to this verse. When the seven thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up these things with the seven thunders uttered, and write them out. I know you're thinking, oh, what does that mean? He just pulled a verse right out of context. The seven thunders uttered. He said, look, I mean, what is the thunder in Scripture? I mean, this is power. This is, we're going to get you. We're coming at you. We're going to wipe you out. Don't write what the thunders. Don't do away with the thunders. I mean, do away with the thunders. This is not how I'm speaking. That's over. But yet here we are as a Christian people. And wanting, to support, got to support Israel. Oh, man. And listen, we as Christians should be supporting all people groups.
That's right.
Especially those who are oppressed. And we should never intentionally go out to oppress people. And I mean, all through the Scriptures, I want to give you some stats here, but all through the Scriptures it talks about the widows and the orphans and the fatherless.
How can anybody call themselves really a Christian when they suggest make a parking lot out of the place?
Yeah, and let me tell you something else that I've seen going on, and this seems to happen so much in America, is because most Americans, and I understand it, they don't want to be involved. And so we live in empire, but empire has made us quite comfortable. I mean, we got 2, 3, 4 cars, we got cell phones, we got TV in every room, we got a refrigerator full of groceries, we got a mattress of our choice to sleep on. We don't really want to be bothered. So just, we call it conservative, which that's the word that we really want to use, because really we don't want to be involved. Just leave me alone. I like being under the warm arm or under the warm wing of the dragon. It's really warm in
I'm
here.
very comfortable here.
I'm comfortable. I don't really want,
Don't upset.
I don't want any refugees coming. I don't want to be helping people. I don't really, just leave me alone and let me do my thing. And, I can tell you, it's not that way. There's always a shaking going on, and we've been, as you said the last few times, I send you. He didn't say, okay, I'm sending you to your house, go sit on your couch and watch TV. We should be, the kingdom is active and it's going on. And let me tell you something that I've seen that just it drives me crazy a little bit, and I think, what is going on here? There's a local church in our community that has started line dancing on their stage. Just like they have taken these songs, like when line dancing came out, and Boot Scoot Boogie and all them things back in the day. So they have incorporated into their worship, and they have hundreds show up. Hundreds show up. And they're on stage, up and down, line dancing, kicking, and they're line dancing. And every week they report, we had 4 more saved. We had 22 saved. And you know what? The people are going, they're filming it on their phones, and then all of a sudden they're getting on stage and, hey, I'm accepting Jesus, and this is great. And they think that's what it is.
Wow.
And you
I'm
know,
blown away by that.
and I mean, you know, they go around and travel to other churches, and they're calling themselves the Passionators. And they go and they line dance, and they call it this worship, and these people are saying, oh, they're saved, and this is just the greatest thing in the whole world. And it's mind blowing to me.
It's short lived. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, like any. I mean, things come up, and things go.
Yeah.
You know, they get bubbled up inside, and it's short lived.
Yeah.
It won't last.
I know.
Believe me.
Yeah. and you know, when we have these atrocities that go on, you know, and it's almost like some people say, oh, well, if you're going to speak anything political, it better be on the side of Israel. Or, you know, we're supposed to stay separate. When I read in the book of Revelation, or when I read in the Acts of the Apostles, when I read, Jesus says you'll be brought before, you know, the higher ups, the principalities, you'll be brought before them. Why was that? Because this is political. It's kingdom against kingdom. In one sense, but in another sense, evil destroys itself. It really does. God did. This is not a battle between good and evil. Revelation is not a battle between good and evil, because evil has already been conquered, has already been put down, and now we're to go forth in that victory. But at the same time, we look at this oppression, and it ought to wake us up a little bit. Let me give you some numbers here. And let me tell you where I got these from. And when I tell you this, you're probably going to turn us off because, hey, we're not supposed to like this guy at all. But I'm just going to tell you, he nailed it. And his name was Bernie Sanders. So if anybody says, oh, I got all of these numbers right from Bernie Sanders when he was standing before Congress giving these numbers. Okay, so for one thing, he says this: he's pro-Palestinian, not pro-Hamas. That's a whole nother subject. And he's not anti-Semitic. I think Bernie Sanders is a Jew. It is. So, you know, we're not here anti-Semitic. We're not anti-any.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. We're not here denying that the Holocaust happened. That was an atrocity too.
Yeah.
Killing God's children is an atrocity. I don't care which side you're on.
That's right.
What you call yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, Sergeant York, in a movie I watched years ago.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Sergeant York.
Sergeant York, he said this. He said, the book is again killing. That means I'm again killing. You know?
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a matter of, are you pro-Hamas? Are you pro-Israel? Are you pro-Ukraine? Are you pro-Russia? No, we are pro-people.
That's right.
We're pro God's children.
Life. Yeah, yeah. You know, Netanyahu, this guy has been extreme right his whole life. He hates everybody but Jews. I'm telling you, he is anti-everybody but Jews. In 7 months since October 7th, in Palestine, there have been 34,000 Palestinians killed. More than 77,000 wounded. Of those, 70% of those are women and children that have been killed. Women and children.
Shocking, ain't it? If that should shock you.
Yeah, that's...
In this day and time, we're so desensitized to everything, not too much shocks us.
I
But
know.
you think about that and pile them bodies up in front of you and look at them.
Yeah.
Women and children.
There's 2.2 million people over there of the Palestinians. That's 5% of them are killed or wounded. 221,000 housing units are destroyed because they live in housing units because it's a very densely populated area. So, and 60% of all homes are damaged or destroyed. 60%. 1 million are homeless. That's half the population are homeless. Now, I will say this, Israel has stopped all aid from going in there. So they have no food. They have no running water.
Right.
They have no electricity. They showed videos of them stopping the aid that was coming, just cutting the sacks open, pouring the stuff out on the ground and laughing. Okay. 26 hospitals have been taken out of service. 26 hospitals. So of these 77,000 wounded, they got no place to go. Like I said, 70% of them women and children.
Now listen to this right here. This is what we're funding. This is money out of your pocket, my pocket, is going to fund that right there.
Mm-hmm.
They just made, last week, was it not? Send more money to Israel.
Yeah.
Send more bombs to Israel.
Mm-hmm. They destroyed all 12 of the universities in Palestine.
That's our free empire.
56 schools have been destroyed. It's amazing, isn't it, that we're hitting all this stuff. 625,000 children have no opportunity now for any education whatsoever because all the schools are gone. Like I said, no electricity, no clean water, sewage in the street. Netanyahu's blocked all the aid. And our government last week gave Netanyahu, out of that AIDS package, $10 billion for this war, supported by Biden and Donald Trump. Both of them, warmongers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people are, oh, wait a minute, we got to... No, they're all feeding the beast.
You better believe it.
They're all feeding the beast because they're making money. Now, let me give you just a little bit of history here.
Now, remember, there's an end game in mind here.
Yeah.
There's an end. There's a reason. There's a reason everything's been cut off.
Yeah. And you know, what they should do, and this is what Bernie Sanders suggested, was why not take the cameras, he said CNN, CBS, why not take the cameras off the college campuses and go to Gaza and show the American people what their hard-earned tax dollars are really bought and paid for when you see all the little children walking around with no legs and arms blowed off and faces mangled and no chance for nothing, starving to death. He called them little old bitty skeletons because they have nothing.
The very reason it's splashed, all these riots and all these protests are splashed all over the media is to get our attention away from what's really going on.
Yeah.
A distraction.
I want to read a verse here.
You distract them while I do something different.
Yeah. Let me read this. I'm going to read this out of the NIV in Isaiah. Isaiah, if I can find Isaiah. Yeah. Isaiah chapter 2, I think it is, verse 4. Hard for me to get around in this new Bible. Isaiah chapter 2. Okay. That's not the verse. I'm
While
sorry.
he's looking for it,
Isaiah 123.
I would like to say this. There is a couple right next door with a little R2D2. If you hear some squeaking and stuff in the video,
Yeah.
well, it's the couple next door.
It's
with
R2D2.
It's R2D2. He's next door.
Yeah.
So there's that. Now give him a chance to find his verse he's looking for.
Okay, Isaiah 123. Your rulers are rebels, partners with thieves. They all love bribes and chase after gifts. They do not defend the cause of the fatherless. The widow's case does not come before them. I mean, what a verse. Isaiah wrote this. Lord, 600 years before Christ came on the scene. Your rulers are rebels, partners with thieves. They all love bribes. They chase after gifts. They do not defend the cause of the fatherless. And the way it is here, if we go to defend the cause of the fatherless, which is what Christians should be doing, they should be looking wherever there is oppression and speaking out against it.
I was in prison and you visited me not. I was thirsty and you gave me nothing to drink. I was hungry and you fed me not. Lord, when did we see you this way?
Where does it say in the Bible that when you come across your enemies, you should bomb them?
No.
I mean, is that something in the New Testament? Maybe it's the second chapter.
I've not found it.
Second chapter of Jude or something.
No.
Yeah, there's only one chapter of Jude. Guys, it's not in there. And that's the callousness of your heart, where Paul writes, the love of God has been shed abroad in our heart. And, you know, it ought to stir up this compassion. No matter where we see oppression and justice. And wasn't this all through the Old Testament? I mean, we see Israel time and time again. The prophets are calling them back. And then Jesus is even calling, you've missed the weightier matters of the law. Justice and mercy.
It's astounding how this country has fought against racism. Now, racism against people of color, black, brown, Asian, but they're Americans, okay? So we've made a little headway maybe, right? But then our anger was directed towards, well, this group of Mexicans coming across the border, or Haitians, they're all coming to kill us. They're all, you know, all that stuff. Be afraid. Be afraid of them.
See, that goes back, what we had talked about a while back with the scapegoat mechanism and Rene Girard, and always needing an enemy, always needing a scapegoat, always needing somebody to
join us.
Well, somebody.
I mean,
that
that's
we
what
can,
it does, really.
Yeah.
To rally, it calls a rallying cry, right? Just like on 9/11. The rallying cry, the one that took these buildings down, we're taking them down, okay? It was a rallying cry to gather Americans together.
Yeah.
Right? But they're gathered under this banner of let's get that guy. It's, you know, the scapegoat. Right back to it.
You know, let me say this about 9/11. It was horrible. We all remember where we were doing that, and we go into this
No
war.
question. It was horrible.
We go into this war, a war that, you know, weapons of mass destruction, all of these things, the Iraqi war. Well, let me tell you this: after we go in and wipe them out, now we get to rebuild Iraq. You know who got the contracts to rebuild Iraq? It was Halliburton. You know who owned Halliburton? Dick Cheney. Oh, I think he was vice president.
Yep, sure was.
Amazing how all of this stuff works. Now, we found nothing. They found nothing. You know, how many of the innocent Iraqis...
And how the information just trickles in, right? And by the time we get to Dick Cheney owned, the contractors that went to rebuild, we've done forgotten how it all started. I mean, we Americans have very short memories.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, as long as we got our cars and our cell phones and our little comfort, you know...
I just turn on Netflix. Forget all about it.
Yeah. What's the next thing? Amazon Prime or whatever. We forget all about it. And, you know, we might raise our head up every now and again and look to see if we can see who the Antichrist is. You know? And it's these atrocities going on. 34,000 killed. 70% of them are women and children. I mean, that's atrocious. That's atrocious. Now, guys, we're going to tell you some mind-blowing statistics here when we come back on our Wednesday show. I hope you'll tune in, chime in, or whatever. We're just kind of, going for it here.
Yeah. We're flowing with the political atmosphere that's been dealt with us. That's why it's on my mind. Yeah. I woke up just the other morning, and maybe we're going to run out of time here pretty quick, but how people want to blame God for the violence that's in the world.
Not his fault. Anyway, guys, we're out of time. Tune in Wednesday as we will get into some good statistics and good truth for you. So Lord bless.
God bless.
Don and Jeff and myself, we really want to thank you guys for tuning in. You don't know what it means to us to have you guys listening. The one thing that you could do to help us out is hit that subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Ask questions in the comments if you want. I am going to leave a link. I'll post it down below for our church services on Wednesday and Sundays. I put those on a different YouTube channel. So I will share that with you guys, give you the link so you can go see what time. We would love to have you come and join us. And, you know, we just love putting out this voice of truth, having our discussions. What you see is what you get. We try to put them out every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 9 a.m. I will tell you, I'm a full-time pastor, but I also work full-time. Jeff works full-time, so it's hard for us to do those things all the time. But again, we're so thankful you tune in. Thank you for all the subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. You can hit the notification button. You'll know when they're coming out. And guys, again, we are so thankful that you're tuning in. Man, thank you so much. We will keep bringing this stuff to you. And we will see you again. Lord bless.